Hello, everybody. How are you? Well, this is exciting. It's time, of course, for another episode of Lyrics Explained. Now, that's when I break down the lyrics of your favorite songs so that you can enjoy them even more. And this one's going to be exciting. It's Lil Durk and an album that came out in December of 2020. But so many of you have been asking me to look at this album, explain the lyrics, and we're going to take a quick look at it. It's The Voice, and it debuted at like 46 in the top 200 Billboard album charts, but then quickly shot up to around number 2, number 3, leveled off at number 5, but it is still hovering right around number 10. So you're talking about an artist with longevity. This is somebody that's put out 6 albums. And don't we see that all the time, that it takes a while for an artist to really break through, but when they do, wow, the dam breaks and the river comes rushing forward to flood the market. So now track number 1 is Redmond, Redman. Redmond talks about going to Vegas with his buddies. And that one friend that always bet the same number, red number 19. Now, there's so many numbers you can choose when you're playing roulette, but he stuck with red number 19. The problem was he was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Lil Durk and the others are like, bro, put it on a different number. You keep losing. He stuck with the guys and ended up winning over $17 million by sticking with his number. And the lesson here is sometimes you just got to bet how you feel and stick it with it to the very end. Now, track number 2, Refugee, talks about Lil Durk's foray into becoming a vegan and how that was short-lived, because once you go vegan, guys, you really have a whole different world in front of you. And for some people, it's a little too much. It's a little too scary. And they kind of backpedal to more of a meat and potatoes lifestyle. And Refugee describes this action, describes this process about how he tried to eat Brussels sprouts 3 times a day, but somehow ended up at the drive-thru at McDonald's. And that is what that song's all about. Number 3 on the track list is Death Ain't Easy. And this talks about a Ford LTD that Lil Durk drove in the early part of his rap career. When you're starting out, you don't have any money, can barely afford a car that works. And this is what he had available that his grandfather gave him. It got 2.5 miles to the gallon, but it got him around to all the local venues where he was able to get into rap battles, becoming an opening act for lots of local acts, and started to build that career. Well, when that car died, he cried a little bit. He looked down at the ground and there were tears coming out of his eyes, dropping onto the sidewalk because of the emotional attachment to that vehicle that got him started. Number 4 on the track list is The Voice. Now, this describes a great opportunity that he had relatively soon in his rap career. Lil Durk was almost the voice of Siri. Originally, Siri wasn't going to have a female voice. It was going to be a male. And through connections, he got an audition to become the voice of the iPhone. What you now know as Siri, he was a finalist for this because they were really contemplating using a male voice. And in his case, instead of calling the voice Siri, they were going to call it Durk. And Durk, and of course Lil Durk, the man behind the voice, was almost the voice of millions of iPhones sold worldwide. Number 5 on the track list is Back Door. Now, this describes the house that Lil Durk grew up in, and because of the nature of the wood of their front door and the humidity in the area, the door would never open. And his parents just said, you have to go through the back door. We can't even open the front door. So it wasn't until he was 13 or 14 that he even saw it open. And what it taught him is that persistence is key. And if you can't go through the front door, you go through the back. If you can't go through the back, you go through the window. And if you can't go through the window to reach your goals, you go down the chimney. Number 6 on the track list is Still Trappin', and this is with King Von. Keep in mind, this entire album is a tribute to King Von, his friend of many years, who he unfortunately lost. And it talks about the days when they were young, those years, like in junior high years before you can go get a job at a McDonald's or something when you're 16, right in there. How do you make money? Some people collected pop bottles. Some people had a paper route. Well, these two guys were smart. They went to the creeks around where they lived and they trapped beavers and then sold the beavers to local dam companies, local power companies who needed the beavers to help build dams and build the hydroelectric capacity that ultimately resulted in lower electrical rates for the entire community. Number 7 on the track list is Stay Down. This is with Young Thug and Black. Now keep in mind that Lil Durk is from Chicago. What do you learn in Chicago really quick when you're a kid? And that's how to throw a snowball. And if you're smart and lethal, you get an ice ball together, pack that tight, then you cover it with the softer snow, but you learn to throw them with precision and power at your enemy across the street. And what do when they fire snowballs back at you? You stay down. You get behind a parked car. That's the only way you're going to survive these snowball volleys in the streets of Chicago. Number 9 on the track list, Misunderstood, talks about the challenge of wearing masks during the pandemic. How many times have you been at the store, you're wearing a mask, the person behind the counter is wearing a mask, you tell them what you want, and they say, what? So you repeat it, and they say, what? So now you're kind of holding the mask down a little bit, but you don't want to diminish the power, the reason for the mask. So you kind of tilt your head, and now you're speaking a little louder. I said, and they're still like, I can't understand you. And this song talks about the challenge of communicating month after month after month at stores and restaurants, anywhere you go, trying to understand fellow human beings through those masks. It's a great song. Number 10 on the track list, Not the Same, tells the story about Lil Durk going to a drive-thru to get a simple lunch, maybe a couple of cheeseburgers and a soda. And at this particular restaurant, he asked for a Diet Coke. They said, is Diet Pepsi okay? He said, no. Are you telling me that Diet Pepsi is the same as Diet Coke? No, it's not the same. And this song details the adventure that he had to go through to go to another restaurant. While keeping his original meal warm, he had to go to another restaurant to go to their drive-thru, which took another 45 minutes just to get a Diet Coke. Number 11 on the track list is India Part 3. Now, this details his third trip to India to enjoy the world's best tikka masala. In this case, he traveled to Mumbai. Now, you say, tikka masala is the most universal Indian food. He could have got that right here in America. Well, then, guys, you haven't been to India to experience it like Lil Durk has. And in fact, this is, like I said, the third trip. He knows that it's worth the travel to enjoy it, to make sure that he's getting the best tikka masala available in the world. Because when you've got big hip-hop money like this, you can ask for the best and get it. Number 12 on the track list is Coming Clean. And this is a challenge that many of us face. In this case, Lil Durk got into old cowboy-style bathtubs. Now, if you can picture an Old West movie, you've got the cowboy or the cowgirl lounging in a white porcelain bathtub with the claw feet. But then how do you keep it clean? Because the mistake people make is using abrasive cleansers, but the porcelain is much more soft and much more vulnerable to scouring and to heavy cleaners than you would imagine. And this song details his cowboy-style bathtub and keep it clean and keep it so nice, so inviting that it makes you want to jump in there and scrub-a-dub-dub. Number 13 on the track list is Going Strong. Now, I mentioned earlier that Lil Durk put out lots of music before he hit the tippy top, the Billboard Top 10. Before he was known worldwide, he was acting as if he already was. And this is the key to going strong. Keeping at it, believing in yourself when everybody's looking at you like, bro, it's not gonna happen. Get a job at Target. And what did he do? He said, no, I'm Lil Durk, and I'm gonna show you how it's gonna be done, because I'm the boss around here. And sure enough, now he's an international superstar. Number 14 on the track list is Changes. And what can you expect when you grow up in Chicago like Lil Durk did? Well, it's Changes. You know that this is a Northern American city. And what do you have when you have a city on the shores of Lake Michigan in a northern city? You're going to have 17 and a half feet of snow every week. Chicago is the city in the United States that gets the most snow, over 1,700 feet per winter. And so when that melts, you have a flood of the entire city. And as kids, they would get into homemade canoes and ride the melting snow out to Lake Michigan until they heard their mom calling their name, and they'd paddle all the way home. Number 15 on the track list of this great album by Lil Durk is Lamborghini Mirrors. Now, what an interesting title, because he talks about Lamborghinis, which are so often connected to success, to wealth, and then mirrors. And yet the Lamborghini is built to move forward at a fast rate of speed, a 0 to 60 time of 2.3 seconds. And yet he's referring to the mirrors. And so what he's trying to correlate here is that we have to keep going into the future, no matter if we know where exactly that's going to be, but also be aware of where we came from so we are staying grounded and can handle anything that comes our way. Number 16, and the final track of this great album by Lil Durk, The Voice, is To Be Honest. And the song talks about that crazy cat in your friends group that always prefaces, or often prefaces, things that they say with the phrase, to be honest. Because what happens then is the next statement they make, the next question they have is anything but honest. So when they say to be honest, they're signaling that they're of pure intention, when in reality, they are anything but. What a wonderful work of art, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Now remember, I'm just relying on my 16 years at the University of Nebraska School of Lyrics Appreciation. You might have a different interpretation, so leave your version of what you think these songs are all about in the comments. Guys, this has been so much fun. Come on back. We're going to have more and more music. We're going to explore it together and build the entire community together. We'll see you then.